If you're a business leader in Australia or New Zealand, let's be honest, artificial intelligence isn't some far-off concept anymore. It's right at the heart of your strategy. But just as AI is getting woven into everything we do, a whole new world of rules and regulations is popping up. So, the big question is, how do you even begin to navigate it? Let's get into it.
I love this quote from Zero's Sun Chia because it absolutely nails where we are right now. AI isn't science fiction. It's here. It's a present-day reality, and it's already changing the way we work, a lot of the time in ways we don't even realize.
And that leads us straight to our first big idea. AI is officially the new normal. You know, the initial crazy hype is starting to die down, and what we're left with is this incredibly powerful tool that's becoming a daily habit, just quietly embedding itself into business as usual.
But just how normal are we talking? Well, get this. A survey from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce found that a staggering 98% of small businesses are now using some form of AI-enabled software. That's basically everyone. So it's not a question of if you're using AI anymore. It's all about how. Think about it like GPS. Remember when it was this amazing new piece of tech we were all wowed by? Now, it's just there. It works in the background, guiding us around without us even thinking about it. Well, AI is on that exact same journey. It's shifting from being this very noticeable, shiny new tool to an invisible force that just makes us more productive.
Okay, but as AI gets more powerful and more integrated, you can bet governments are taking notice. And here's the kicker, the rules of the game are changing. There are new regulations coming down the pipeline, and if you're a business in Australia or New Zealand, you really need to get ready.
So, over in Australia, the government's talking about bringing in what they're calling mandatory guardrails. Essentially, it's a proposed set of 10 rules that would kick in any time an AI system is used in a so-called high-risk situation. And this doesn't just apply to the big tech giants building the AI. It covers everyone in the chain, from the developers right through to the businesses that actually deploy it.
You know, the best way to get your head around these guardrails is to think of them as seatbelts and airbags for AI. They're not there to stop you from driving, and they're definitely not there to slow down innovation. They're just essential safety features designed to prevent serious harm when the stakes are really high.
So, what counts as high risk? Well, Australia isn't just handing out a simple checklist. Instead, they're going what's called a principles-based approach. What that means is businesses themselves will have to look at their AI systems and assess the potential for harm across all these key areas, from an individual's human rights all the way up to broad societal impacts. And this is a really big deal because it highlights a major difference in how regulators are thinking about this globally. You've got the European Union's AI Act, which has a very specific, defined list of what is and isn't high risk. But Australia's model, it's much more flexible. It's focused on the potential for harm, not on the specific piece of technology. All right, let's hop over the Tasman to New Zealand, because they're playing a different game altogether. New Zealand is positioning itself as an adopter nation. The whole strategy isn't about building the next big AI model from the ground up, but about getting really good at implementing proven AI solutions to boost the economy. And because of that strategy, New Zealand is taking a much more light-touch approach to regulation. They're not planning to write a bunch of new AI-specific laws. Instead, the idea is to use the legal frameworks they already have, things like the Privacy Act and the Fair Trading Act. The goal is to create a stable, predictable environment for businesses. And what's really unique and important here is that the strategy also weaves in obligations from the Treaty of Waitangi, making sure that Maori perspectives are right there at the center of AI ethics and governance. Now, I know this can all sound a bit abstract and far away, but look at this timeline. It is tight. We're expecting to see the next version of those mandatory guardrails in Australia in early 2025. And for any of you with customers in the EU, their new Data Act starts kicking in around September 2025. Seriously, the clock is ticking.
So, with all these new rules coming from the outside, the big question is, what can you actually control? And that brings us to your internal game plan. It's all about how you prepare your business from the inside out.
And this has to start right at the top. This quote from the Australian Institute of Company Directors, it's just so spot on. Data governance, which is the absolute foundation of any decent AI strategy, is now a board-level business-critical issue. It is not something you can just delegate to the IT department anymore. The AICD actually gives us a fantastic framework for this, built on 5 core principles. It all starts with mindset shift, treating data as a strategic asset. From there, it's about having clear accountability, solid risk management, building a culture that values data, and of course, having a plan for when things inevitably go wrong. Think of this as your blueprint for getting it right at the board level.
Okay, so that's the big picture framework. But what can you do like tomorrow morning? Let's boil it all down to 3 simple, concrete steps you can take right now to get your business ready.
First up,
Go and find Australia's voluntary AI safety standards. These are out there right now. You should take a really honest look at your current practices and see how you stack up. Why? Because these voluntary standards are the clearest signal we have of what the future mandatory rules are going to look like. They are, for all intents and purposes, the benchmark for best practice today.
Okay, number 2. You need to get this conversation started in the boardroom. The AICD has a brilliant guide called the Top 10 Questions for Directors. It's the perfect tool to spark those critical conversations and really make the leadership team think hard about the data they have, the risks they're carrying, and what their actual strategy is for using it.
And finally, the third step. And honestly, this is the most important one.
This is all about a fundamental shift in how you think. You have to build a data strategy that's about more than just ticking compliance boxes. The moment you start truly treating your data as your most valuable asset, governance stops feeling like a chore and starts becoming your biggest competitive advantage.
And really, that's the question you need to be asking. Because in this new age of AI, the answer to that question is going to be what separates the winners from the losers. So is your business truly ready to make that shift?